What's going on? I'm doing a response video to my dude runningwolf1980's last video. He was talking about a couple things in the video, and I started commenting, and I realized that it was probably going to take me a couple comments, so I figured, why not just make a little response and just touch on a couple things. Start out with, he was talking about the dribble situation, and then the intgkicks thing, and start out with that. With dribbles, I had conversations with with the dude before, about I know you like kicks and da 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 da, but stop with the attacking people with videos and the burying people and all that shit. All that shit he was talking in the videos. I'm like, look, I know you like the kit. I know you love shoes. I can tell about the shoes. Just make entertaining videos that people can enjoy. And this was before the Running Wolf situation. And then shout outs to jstar 25. I kind of grew a little bit of a relationship with dude, talking to him on the phone, texting, talking through videos, and he kind of came at him, and that rubbed me the wrong way. But unlike some people, some people would go and just start bashing dude on the channel. I went and talked to him, like, look, there's no need to do that, da 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 da. And then the whole situation with Running Wolf popped off, which was kind of good in a way, because then I found his channel. Shout outs to him. I have huge respect for Running Wolf, for like me, he's not afraid to say what he needs to say, what he wants to say, what he believes, and believes what he believes. So highly respect him for that. But found his channel, and stayed supporting dribbles. I didn't flop back and forth, so that's another thing, following people around and being groupies and talking shit on people's groups and thumbing down videos. It's really not a big deal, but it's just petty. You know what I'm saying? If you want to thumb down my video, I get 100% thumbs down. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt me at the end of the day, or at the beginning or middle of the day, regardless. But it's just the fact that there's really no need for all that bullshitting and arguing. You show people respect, you get respect. I highly respect jstar and Running Wolf. I have zero respect for DJ Delz as a man. Not even the least bit of respect for that dude. I respect his collection and what he's accrued and worked for, but how he talks to people, how he acts, what he says, I have zero respect for him. You're not going to agree with everything everybody says and does, and that's okay. I don't like that DJ Hess doesn't wear all the shit that he's putting in his videos, but that's not gonna limit the amount. Come on, dog. That's not gonna limit the amount of respect I have for him. He works for his shoes. He truly has a passion for the sneaker culture. Shows people respect. There's really not much more you could say. So like I said, you could disagree with something someone does and still have respect for them. It doesn't always have to be negative. You know what I'm saying? And that ties into the intgkicks situation. I agree with a lot of what he said. Some of the stuff and the portrayal of some of the things in that video turned people off or got lost on people. I understand why. I didn't get involved with commenting and doing all that, because I'm not getting involved in all the arguing and all that, because at the end of the day, it's what everybody is complaining about is the one and same common goal that everybody wants to have, is for the sneaker culture to be, I don't say sneaker game. That's one thing I don't like. That's me personally. If you want to say that, feel free. I just, you don't score. I don't go cop these at House of Hoops and then score points. You know what I mean? When I retire, they're not going to take my jersey. and have a ceremony at House of Hoops, and then raise it up into the banners, into the ceiling. So you know, it's a sneaker culture to me. It's more than shoes, but anyway, I digress. You know, everybody's talking about, you know, these response videos, and this person said this about INTG, and this and jstar said this, and that's all like junior high school shit, man. Like Tommy's not talking to Sarah, and Sarah doesn't like Lisa anymore. Like really? Like that's like most of these dudes are grown ass men. Like, you know, here and there I'll like slip up and maybe say something you know, disrespectful, but it's few and far between. You know what I mean? I'm still growing as a man. You know what I mean? Like shit happens, but all this like making response videos and beefing with people, like that shit's way, like, you know, I can't say I'm above. I don't say I'm above much, but I'm above that. Like I'm not getting involved in all that bullshit. Like what else here? Oh yeah, I'm not sure if you touched on it, I forget, but you know, the shoe violence. I've seen a bunch of people put up videos. If you can see this, it's a Sports Illustrated issue. It says your sneakers or your life. The moments of violence that we hear about here and there, like the couple kids being stabbed for the Olympic sevens, that's nothing compared to what it used to be when I was growing up. Like DJ Hess said, I wanted to point this out too. DJ Hess said that it's like, you know, you see two people, one in a room, one has a black eye, one doesn't. You go to the dude that doesn't have a black eye and go like, well, what do you do? Well, with those kids, unless I missed it and they put something out afterwards, I haven't seen anything with the story, just pretty much telling you the basic details. You know, these kids got stabbed, this kid got locked up. You really don't know what happened. That one kid that could have stabbed those three, you know, he could have been the last spot for a size 11.5 in the line, and these three kids came up. One was a 12, one was a 10, and the other kid was an 11.5, and they three tried to like boss up and try to push dude off the spot for that 11.5, and you know, they tried to strong arm him, and he defended himself. Like, you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, until you get the full story. Maybe I missed it, maybe it didn't come out, but again, unless you know the full story, you don't know, because I've seen shit like that happen a lot too. But with the violence, I've only heard of a handful of stories of, you know, violence at releases or people getting robbed for their shoes. That used to be a daily occurrence in the early 90s. In Philly, I grew up in Philly, New York in the boroughs, Chicago, out in California, South Central, Miami, anywhere that has a large I can't think of the word I want to use. Any big inner cities, big cities, you know, unless you were with a couple of your people, or, you know, people in your area knew you. If you're walking around with a pair of J's, odds are somebody's gonna tell you to run them. You know what I mean? Take them shoes off your feet. Like, you don't get that now, because back then, like, that was the high watermark of basketball shoes and popularity. It was J's. Like, now it's just not like that. You know what I mean? There's shoes that are more expensive, for one, and two, you get I'm like fucked up for words here. It's just not like that. You know what I mean? Like, the equivalent to that I could put together is all these kids scamming on the internet. There's a lot of that going on. That's kind of the equivalent of what we used to deal with in the early 90s. That's like this generation's run your shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much what it boils down to. So it's a lot better than it was. It's being portrayed like, you know, it's Baghdad out there trying to get shoes, and it's really not what it is. So shout outs to JD for that. JD, Nuke Machinist Mate, he made a video about that. Running Wolf, he was also talking about you know, not waiting in lines, prices, this and that. I'll wait in a line if it's a shoe I really want and don't want to take a chance of having somebody else try to get it for me. It's 65% I want the shoe and 35% just the relationships and the people you meet. I would say 80% of the people that I talk and text and deal with on a regular basis are people that I met at shoe lineups or shoe campouts. Call me crazy, but I like it. As long as it isn't a week. If it's 24, no more than like 48 hours, I could do it. If I don't have anything else, any other obligations. Prices, again, prices aren't that bad to me. They're only about $50 off of what they were 18 years ago. In 95 and in 2000 and 2001 when the OG and last model 11s released. they were 125. Now they're 175, 180. So the prices really aren't that far off. So and that's just on the 11s. So that doesn't really bother me. And through conversations, again, ties back with jstar. I don't blame resellers as much as I used to, because they do serve a purpose when it's done properly, and if people aren't willing to pay, then they can't charge a crazy price. If a handful of idiots aren't willing to pay $375 for this shoe, you can get them a little cheaper, but I'm just throwing a price out there. If a handful of people aren't willing to pay $375 for this shoe, it's not going to sell for $375. Perfect example. The KD Olympics, the USA's that released this weekend. People started listing it at $375 and higher. In Nike Talk, I'm sure a bunch of you are familiar with Nike Talk. None of them were selling. There were people that had 5 or 6 said they were flying, but they weren't selling. You would see $375 went down to $350, and then $350 went down to $315, and then $315s to $275. So if the money's not there, they can't charge that. Just stop paying stupid prices, and especially for J's, because they're gonna retro. Most J's that you want, except for a handful, maroon 6s, sport blue or September blue 6s. Some haven't retroed, but they're gonna retro. There's multiple models of most, so they're not gonna hold their value as much. Original colorways anyway. So if you're not comfortable with the price, just pass. Like, you're gonna find a price. It's gonna come back around for you. Like, I'm trying to think of a pair. Do the Right Thing 3s. People wanted 2, 180, around there. I paid $135 shipped. Playoff 13s, 200, 225. I bought 2 pairs, $135 shipped, $145 shipped. Black and red with the 3M 13s, $350, $280. I paid $210 shipped, $220 shipped. Just, there's so many shoes out there that I want, or that I would like to have. Some different SE trainers, a couple more Griffey Max 1 and 2 colorways, a couple more different 90s, some Kobe 6s, some LeBron 7s, a couple OG colorway J's that I missed, some SBs. There's just so much out there that I would like to have. The beautiful shoes, well designed, good quality, okay quality, whatever. There's just so many shoes out there that one release isn't going to kill me. I passed on the USA KDs, even though I love KD 4s. I got like 10 colorways, but I passed. I'm not paying that nutty price. I paid $150. I'm cool with $150. But that's just my message to people out there. You know what I mean? Like, if the what's next? The Fire Red 4s. If you can't get them on the release day, and you're paying $1 over 200, pass. You'll find them cheaper. Like, there's way too much out there to be, you know, strong-armed into paying something you don't want to pay. I think the last thing is about a pair of KDs. One Wolf mentioned. I understand, you know, what he was saying about, you know, they're not made for you, this and that. I originally passed. I knew what they were about, sort of. You know, I knew it was Native American inspired because Oklahoma City being a large Native American, having a large Native American population. I was just passing, you know, just because I just really didn't want to spend the money. I had picked up quite a few other things, and but then I kind of wanted to look into them more, and I just really loved what I was seeing. You know, the reasoning for this turquoise being used predominantly in the N7 collection, not just the KDs, but the clothing, a couple other of the pairs that was out there. The turquoise color is symbolic of friendship and community in the Native American culture. I thought that was really dope. So there's actually meaning behind the color itself. It's not just a color for color's sake. And then the N7 program, where they give money back to Native American and Aboriginal youth, sports leagues and departments. I really like the fact that they're shoes that have a concept or meaning, and that there's money goes to somewhere. I mean, the shoe is pretty dope on its own, but I just love what the shoe stands for, and the N7 program and the concept from Nike. It's a really great concept. So, you know, unlike most who are just trying to grab them and bang people over the head, you know, I did a little extra research to dig more into it, to see why, what the program was, what it was about, and I just you know, kind of fell in love with the concept and everything it meant. So that's why I picked it up. So at least I know the history behind the shoe, and I love that some of my money is going to kids' sports leagues. Same as the reason why I love the Dorenbecher concept and the Dorenbecher project. But that's about it. It's a little long. I wanted to touch on a bunch of different things, but I think I pretty much got everything across. That's it. Anybody got any comments? Leave a comment in there, rate, comment, subscribe, and y'all be easy.